Welcome to survive.as.level YouTube channel, and this is the AS Chemistry 2024 October-November paper 13 multiple choice explanation. Question 6. It shows the graphs of trends in 4 physical properties of elements in period 3, excluding argon. Which graph has electronegativity on the y-axis? So for A, it shows the melting points. Trend in period 3 because the melting point increases to silicon because the bond is getting stronger. And for phosphor, sulfur, and chlorine, there are covalently bonded atoms. Therefore, the melting point is low. So A is not the answer. And for B, it shows the atomic radius trend in period 3. Because atomic radius across the period decreases due to the reason that number of protons increases, but the electrons added in each successive element remains in one shielding, so shielding effect remains constant. Therefore, atomic radius increase. And for C, it shows the ionization energy graph. It is usually increases, but for magnesium and aluminum, there is orbital change in electrons added, and for phosphorus and sulfur, there's spin pair repulsion. So it is not the answer, and B is not the answer too. So D, it shows the electronegativity that we're looking for. Electronegativity increases because the ability of an atom to attract bonding electrons in a covalent bond increases across a period when the proton number increases. So the answer is D. Question 7. The element tin exists in 2 forms: gray tin and white tin. Some properties of gray tin and white tin are shown. Which structural change might place when gray tin changes to white tin? So gray tin has high melting point, and also white tin has high melting point. So therefore, these two both have giant structure. And for electrical conductivity, gray tin none in solid or liquid, so that means it is covalent. If it says that none in solid and will show electrical conductivity in liquid, it would be giant ionic, but it doesn't, so it's giant covalent structure. And also malleability is brittle, so it's giant covalent. And white tin, good in solid and liquid, that means it has metallic structure. And also malleable, so it is metallic. Therefore, the answer is B. Question 8. Which solid has a simple molecular lattice? So from the answers, calcium fluoride has giant ionic lattice. and nickel is in transition metals of periodic table, so it is giant metallic structure. And silicon dioxide is giant covalent lattice. As we know for graphite and diamond. And for sulfur, it has simple covalent structure. Therefore, it is simple molecular lattice. So the answer is D. The standard enthalpy change of combustion of carbon is minus 394. So we would say this enthalpy change delta H1. And the second is standard enthalpy change of combustion of hydrogen is minus 286. And we will say this enthalpy change delta H2. And the third one is standard enthalpy change of formation of butane is minus 129. So we will say this enthalpy change delta H3. And we should find the standard enthalpy change of combustion of butane. So we should write the reaction here and draw the gas cycle. C4H10 plus O2, it is combustion, and carbon dioxide and water formed. And we should balance the equation by writing 4 in front of carbon dioxide and 5 in front of water. And it can both form CO2 by adding oxygen and water here. It should be written here, and therefore it should be as 4 delta H1 plus 5 delta H2, and the combustion is here, and it should be also written that these both can react to form butane, and it is the delta H3. Therefore, if we saw that the reaction goes in this way and also this way, right? So these two are equal. So delta H3 plus delta H combustion of butane is equal to 4 delta H1 plus 5 delta H2. So if we calculate it, minus 129 plus combustion of butane is equal to minus 3006. So combustion of butane is minus 2877. Therefore, our answer would be B. So question 3 shows these three processes and which statement is correct. So we should talk about exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction for this, because positive enthalpy change means endothermic reaction. Therefore, we should consider whether these three processes are endothermic or exothermic. So for first reaction, it is the acid-base reaction when proton is reacted with OH negative ion, it forms water. So it is neutralization acid-base reaction. Therefore, it is exothermic. And delta H is negative. For second process, it shows the combustion of methane forming carbon dioxide and water. Therefore, combustion reaction is always exothermic, and delta H is negative. For the third process, it shows that ammonium gas is forming liquid ammonium. So condensation process is going here. From high energy gas particles forming low energy liquid particles. Therefore, it is also negative delta H and exothermic. So the correct answer is none of the process have a positive enthalpy change. A.